I live for good ideas. That moment when you've landed on the idea, it's an exciting feeling, right? So I'm always trying to improve my process to get to a better one. And as a creative director, it's kind of my job to have good ideas. So here's a sneak peek into my brain of how I approach it for all my creative work and life in general. Dream big. No good idea ever started with, let's be practical about this. If you try and be practical, your ideas just aren't going to be that amazing. Save being practical for later when you have to actually make the thing. So don't think about budget or limitations or restrictions just yet. What would you do if there were no constraints? What's the craziest thing that you can think of? And then just go one bigger than that. Dream big and then figure out a way to make it happen. Because if you dream small, it always just gets smaller. Things always get cut and chopped when you start making a thing, so don't undercut yourself before you've even started. Ditch your first idea. The first idea you have is likely the obvious one, which means other people will likely come to the same conclusion as well. Great ideas are always novel, meaning it's unusual, or it's dots that you wouldn't normally connect together that are presented in a non-obvious way, and these are the ones that stick with people. Because you're taking something that's familiar and old, but you're putting a new spin on it. I'm all about delivering delight, and this is the first step. Not to do the obvious thing. Don't allow people to know what you're going to do or say next. And if you have to say the obvious, then don't let people guess how you're going to end your cranberry. See? Sometimes the first idea is the best idea, but you won't know if it is the best idea if you just stopped at the first idea. I was once in a kickoff meeting for a new campaign in a boardroom with a bunch of people, which is where creativity goes to die, but 5 people immediately came to the same idea within minutes, and they're all high-fiving each other like, yeah, great minds think alike. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. Or perhaps it just confirms that it's a really obvious idea and it's not that creative. Don't fall in love with your ideas. Sometimes we can get so stuck in what we think is good that we don't leave enough room for what else could be. I find this is common with early creatives, that they fall in love with an idea that any suggestions feel like criticism, and they're blind to any better possibilities. You have the best ideas by believing that you don't have the best idea yet, so hold on to your ideas loosely and don't get too attached. When I'm directing on set, my approach is typically one take for me, how I imagined it, one take for you, how you, the talent, imagined it, and one for us to just play. And that third option is me leaving room for serendipity, for something potentially amazing to happen that no one planned. Have lots of bad ideas. I know we're talking about good ideas, but hear me out. Crap ideas lead to better ideas. Creativity requires you to have a volume of ideas, and most of them are gonna be crap, like 95% of them. But don't discard them, don't delete them, write it out, stick it on a wall, and seeing them there is a reminder of what didn't work, but it can also inspire the next good idea. When you have 100 crap ideas on the page, it's absolutely heartbreaking and deliberating in the moment, but try and see it as now you're just one step closer to a better idea. Because now you have dots that you can connect. You might be able to take bits from different bad ideas and combine them to something decent. So you can't polish a turd, no. But if you have enough turd, you can use it as fertilizer to grow a better idea. Ironically, I came up with that after a bunch of really crap versions of that sentence. Be curious and be a sponge. Ask questions, learn how things work, look at more stuff. Creativity is the act of connecting two dots that probably shouldn't be connected. So looking outside of your typical interests, and especially outside of your industry, lets you collect more ideas. And the weirder and more unconnected your own interests are, the more unique the combinations will be. Essentially, creativity is like Lego. The more Lego blocks you have, the more interesting things that you can build. And if you reference things inside of your own industry, that's just reading the same instruction manual as everyone else. You end up making the same stuff. I'm proud to admit that I steal ideas from other industries all the time. Everything is a remix is how that saying goes, right? You're not creating something from nothing, you're creating something by combining several things. So collect more dots to connect more dots. Keep it short and keep it simple. A good idea is only as good as it can be communicated. If it's not clear, it's not understood, and if it's not simple, it's not memorable. I've said this in another video, but when things aren't going right, it's usually because there's way too much going on. So start cutting everything to its most core, simplest version. Having one good idea understood is better than having 5 great ideas lost in communication. So that's me. But what's your process on coming up with new ideas? I'm always looking for better ways of thinking, so I'd be really keen to find out some new things that I could add to my process. If you like videos like this on creative thinking, then consider subscribing. And now that I've shared how I approach coming up with new good ideas, in the next video I'll share how I sell, communicate, and present those ideas in a way that people care. And I hope to see you there. I feel like a footballer giving a press conference in this jacket.